Hi students, you are welcome in another tutorial on a special theory in literary criticism. Today we are going to talk about Marxist criticism or Marxist theory. So let me tell you at the very initial the outline of this tutorial. In this tutorial, first we will talk about how Marxist criticism began or who are the founders of Marxism. Second, what is Marxism? Number three, Marxism and literature, and at the end we will discuss about the contribution of Louis Althusser to this Marxist theory. I will also provide you how you can analyze any literary text based on this Marxist theory or what Marxist critics do. So this is the outline. Now friends, let's start Marxism. As we all know that Marxism is nothing but a theory in literature, and it is a philosophy founded by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Now Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels both belong to Germany, or they are from Germany. One is now recognized as the sociologist Friedrich Engels, and Karl Marx is inherently a philosopher. They wrote very enthusiastically on the economic conditions of the world prevailed at that time, and from there their economic theories and thoughts were developed, and they called these thoughts and economic theories as communism at the initial, and later we find that this communism has been developed in the Marxism or Marxist theory. And in this Marxism we find that a very great literary document came in 1848, and both Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels composed this world famous document called Communist Manifesto. And in that Communist Manifesto they talked about their ideas on economy or their ideas on the society, and from there we find that Marxism is developed. Now this is the beginning, or we can say that this is the foundation of Marxism or Marxist theory. Now friends, let's understand what is Marxism. As we think or as we look at this Marxism, we find that the very aim of Marxism is to create classless society. There should not be any class according to the theory of Marx, and it should be a classless society. Now when we go deep in the very theory of this Marxism, we find that they are talking about the means of production, and according to them, Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx, the means of production should be owned by the society or the state directly, and they oppose the capitalism, the capitalist theories, and they are in favor of the we can say that society or the people or the masses, and they in a way studied the society at that time, and they have come to certain conclusions, and in that conclusions they have added that there should be the means of production, the means of distribution and exchange owned by society or the state directly, and based on this they have developed their economic theories, and the same kind of things we find in literature. Next we have a remark of Peter Berry. Peter Berry very clearly states the very philosophy or the idea of Marxism. Let's read this remark by Peter Berry and understand in detail. The aim of Marxism is to bring about a classless society based on the common ownership of the means of production, distribution and exchange. Marxism is a materialist philosophy, that is, it tries to explain things without assuming the existence of a world or of forces beyond and the natural world around us and the society we live in. It looks for concrete, scientific, logical explanations of the world of observable fact. So friends, here we find that they talk about the concrete kind of things, and we can term this philosophy as the concrete philosophy, or it is based on the practicality or the physical data, because there is no place for abstract ideas or abstract kind of explanations in this philosophy. And very prominently they are talking about the society and the forces prevailed in that particular society, and according to them at that time religion and spiritual thoughts were the most prominent kind of force in the society, and they also talk about religion. And here we have a very prominent and famous opinion of Karl Marx about religion. He says that religion is a tablet of opium, and in a way some people use it as the means to make people slave, and this has brought in the society the class distinction. There is rich people and there are poor people, and we find that the dichotomy or the two terms we think about Marxism, we find very prominent. One is haves and have nots. So haves are those people who have the means of production under their control, and have nots are those people who do not have any means of production, or they do not get the very distribution of wealth, and they emphasize on the equal distribution of the wealth in the Marxism, or it is the philosophy of Marx, or we can find that this is the Marxist theory. Das Kapital, a very prominent treatise composed by Karl Marx in 1867, and in that treatise or in that book we find that he talks about reification. So reification is a term he is applied to those people who do not have the means of production, and in a way they are used as only things and not the human beings, and this reification have been brought by the Industrial Revolution as Marx studied it. And through this Industrial Revolution, a great barrier or a great kind of valley is created between the rich people and poor people. Through this reification is nothing but the consideration of people as only things or only means of production and not more than that. But according to Karl Marx, they are human beings and they need to be treated as human beings. And the same things we also find in literature, and based on this kind of philosophy, literature is analyzed, and here we find that the Marxist theory came into existence in literature. So in Das Kapital he also talks about a model. He has given a Marxist model of the society. Generally he divides society into two broad categories. One is base and the other is superstructure. Now in base, he thinks that base is nothing but the means of production, distribution and exchange, and in superstructure, so you can find this diagram is very useful and very easy to understand. So here is the diagram. Now in superstructure we find that he talks about the cultural world. Superstructure is nothing but the surface level world, and at its base we have base or the means of production, distribution and exchange. In superstructure we have cultural world. In cultural world we find that there is art, religion, law, literature, etc., and this superstructure is driven by the base or the economic base of the society or the economic conditions of the society. And again he says that this superstructure is driven by base, and it is called as economic determinism. Economic determinism is a concept about the things which are determined by the economic base. So economic determinism is also a significant term which is determined by the economic base, and here we have the superstructure, right? It is also determined by the economic base. So friends, this is the second point. What is Marxism? Now I am very sure that you understood what is Marxism. So these are general ideas in Marxism. These same ideas are there in the literature, and we can analyze these ideas in the literature. Now let's move to the third point. Third point is Marxism and literature. Now if you look at Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx, we find that they have approved the literature, and they say that literature does not create in vacuum. There is a creator of literature, there is a creator of art, and that creator, that author, that writer, that poet is associated with some class of the society, and it is enough or it is ample to analyze that particular society and that particular class based on the writings of that particular author. So again here we have Peter Barry's remarks about Friedrich Engels. What he talks, let's see. Thus Engels, writing to the English novelist Margaret Harkness in April 1888, tells her that he is far from finding fault with you for not having written a point-blank socialist novel. The more the opinions of the author remain hidden, the better the work of art. From this remark, we can understand that Engels talks about the uniformity of author or the independence of the author, and author should be detached from his work, and he should not explore his inherent ideology or his views on economies in this particular art or in this particular literature. He approves the very status of the literary persons or artists in the society, because they represent a particular class, they represent a particular kind of economic strata of the society, and hence they became very significant to analyze. Now we have a more significant contributor to the theory of Marxism, that is Louis Althusser. He is a French theorist, and he has added some new terms or some new kind of concepts to this theory of Marxism. The very first his term or concept, here we have overdeterminism. Now actually this is not a new concept. This concept is taken or borrowed from Sigmund Freud and his psychoanalysis, but here he uses this kind of concept overdeterminism to make a correspondence between base and superstructure. According to him, there is a relation between base and superstructure. This becomes very significant because when we try to analyze Marxist theory, we find that sometimes people consider base as a separate kind of entity and superstructure as a separate entity. But here Althusser very clearly states that they are not separate entities, but there is correspondence between economic base and the art or the literature or the law or other kind of institutions. So this is overdeterminism concept talks about Louis Althusser. The next concept he is talking about is relative autonomy. So this concept is related to art or literature or the cultural world. According to him, though there is correspondence between base or economic structures and the superstructures or the cultural world or art or literature, but there has a particular or a significant kind of autonomy to the literature or art, and this autonomy can be considered as relative autonomy. So there is freedom, independence inherent in the structures or in the literature, as we find the view of Friedrich Engels. He also says that the author does not share his views on economy in the literature or in the art. In the same way, he is enjoying a kind of relative autonomy, a kind of relative independence, a kind of relative freedom in the literature, and the same thing he is talking about here in this concept called relative autonomy. So this is his second concept. The next concept we have ideology. Now ideology is significant for all Marxist theorists or all the Marxist critics. Now let's see what is ideology according to Louis Althusser. Ideology is a system possessing its logic and proper rigor of representations, images, myths, ideas or concepts according to case, endowed with an existence and an historical role at the heart of a given society. So Althusser provides here a very broader view of the ideology. Ideology is nothing but a system, and in that system we find different kinds of things come. For example, we have literature, art, religion, law, institutions, etc. And these all systems are inherent in the ideology, and they combine all things in the ideology, and this ideology builds the power. So next we are talking about his concept called decentering. Decentering is the concept which is like his concept of relative autonomy. In decentering, he thinks that there is no essence or there is no any focus in the structures which are prevailing in the economic base, or we find that though there is economic base at the under of the literature, but literature also enjoys some kind of independence or some kind of freedom. So this is the decentering, means there is no center or there is no focus, there is no the only thing which is driven by economic base. So literature also can driven by other kind of things in the society and not only by the economic base, though the economic base is a kind of force under the literature, but there are other kinds also. So this is decentering. And now we have his most significant idea in this series of the Marxist criticism or Marxist theory, that is his idea of power structures or his idea of state ideological apparatus or ideological structures. Now he talks about that when we think about society, we find there are different kinds of structures in the society, and based on these structures we find that power is accumulated in the hands of society or in the hands of state. For example, he talks about the power structures are related to the very media in the society, political parties, schools, then we have family, then we have art or literature. Literature also propagates a kind of structures or propagates a kind of ideology, and this ideology helps to accumulate the power. This ideology also helps to find the power, and it also makes the view of people, the opinions of people, and people also thinks about this kind of power structures in the society. So this is his idea of the ideological apparatus. So friends, this is all about how Marxism began, then what is Marxism, then what is the Marxism and literature relationship, and then what kind of contribution we find made by Louis Althusser. Now let me tell you that how you can analyze a text or what Marxist critics do. So this is given in a very clear manner in the Peter Barry's beginning theory. So I will read these statements and explain to you. So what Marxist critics do, here we have very first statement, they make a division between overt and covert content of literary work. Now what is this overt and covert? Now overt is nothing but the manifest or at the surface level, and covert is nothing but the hidden kind of things in the literature. So first, these critics of Marxist, they draw out this overt and covert kind of structures in a literary text, and here he further provides the example of King Lear. If you look at King Lear from the point of view of the covert structure, you find that it is nothing but the class representation, or it talks about the class struggle. So this is the example. Second statement we have, another method used by Marxist critics is to relate the context of a work to the social class status of the author. So this is very simple, that you have to analyze the author or the writer of that particular literary text, from which strata of the society he belongs and what kind of social views he is expressing in that particular text. So this is very simple. Next we have, Marxist practice is to relate the literary work to the social assumptions of the time. Now you can find out what kind of social assumptions were there which are represented in the particular text. For example, we consider the thoughts of Karl Marx on economy of that particular day, which are inherent in the literature of that particular day. Or you can find the industrial revolution literature where these kind of things are discussed. So you have to make relationship between the social conditions of the particular time and the prevailing kind of assumptions which are there in the literature. The next thing here we have, fifth Marxist practice is the politicization of literary form. That is the claim that literary forms are themselves determined by political circumstances. Now here we find that there is a Leninist Marxist criticism. In Leninist Marxist criticism, you find that this kind of politicization of the literary text or the literature. And there are two other kinds of Marxist theories. One is Engelsian Marxist theory and the other is Leninist Marxist theory. If you want to read these theories in detail, you can read it in this book called Beginning Theory by Peter. Terry Egerton also wrote on Marxism, and his books are very famous. Then we have Frederick Jameson. You can also read Frederick Jameson for more understanding of the Marxism. Now friends, this is all about the Marxist literary theory. If you have any problem, any issue, you can directly comment me and I will answer to your comments. So thank you very much for watching the complete tutorial. Please like this video, share this video among your friends and subscribe to Literature Simply, and don't forget to press the bell notification icon for updates.